For those of us that remember old America before new America, this one that we're all trapped in, you'll probably remember that America was pretty great. And it still is today, don't get me wrong, but back in the day, things were much more vibrant. Everybody was more outgoing, and it seemed like we just had a lot more hope. The American dream seemed possible. Today, there doesn't seem to be that much hope. And the American dream doesn't feel possible for a lot of people. And if you do remember old America, you probably won't even recognize the new one. That's how much things have changed. And it's not just the country itself, it's the people in it. It's everything. And as a matter of fact, in the modern world, as of very recently, there's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff being brought to light that is absolutely insane. If you didn't know this was the real world, you would have to be convinced that we're living in a simulation. Because the stuff that's been coming out, it's like something out of a nightmare, like a horror film. It seems like a movie skit. But the fact is that this is real life. Yes, it is theater, and it probably is just a stage. It's the world stage, but this is real life, the stuff that's happening. And I'm not just going to sit here and highlight all the bad stuff. We all know about all the bad stuff that's going on in the world around us. I don't need to talk about all that. The main point I want to get to here is how I have learned to frame all this bad stuff as a positive. And I'm not saying that the stuff that has been coming out and the stuff that has happened is good at all. I do not mean that in any way, shape, or form. A lot of it is inherently wrong. It's abhorrent. I don't agree with any of it. But the fact that it's coming out in the way that it's coming out, I think is a massive silver lining. And I think this is one of the biggest positives in probably all of modern history. Because I am very much an optimist, but I'm also very much a realist. And because I'm both of those things at the same time, I can see how there is always light in darkness. And there cannot be light without darkness. And the fact that there is a lot of darkness right now, and balance must always be maintained, means that there's also a lot of light. And the light might seem non-existent if you're not paying attention, but if you really drill down the things that are happening, and you look and find the deeper meaning within these things, you'll see that there is 100% light, and there is a lot of light to be found. So the way I've been framing this stuff is the fact that all this bad stuff is happening, and it's all coming out in mass. It is directly in our faces. They're not hiding any of it anymore. And I think the reason they're doing that is because they believe they have gotten us to the point to where they can basically give us any information they want. It doesn't matter how crazy it is, how outlandish it is, or how disgusting it is. They believe that they can give us that information and we won't do anything. Because I think they've waited to put all this stuff out until after they have gotten us so desensitized and so numb to basically everything that they feel like they can put out whatever they want and we'll just be numb. We'll just, we might bicker about it, we might get mad about it, but we're never actually going to do anything. It's not actually going to affect us because we have actually become very desensitized to a lot of stuff, and that is because we're constantly being pummeled with stuff. And that's all by design. And that's the key to all this, is that it is all by design. So it's very important to remember that as we go through this. But the simple fact remains is that they have underestimated us. And maybe we are kind of numb. Maybe we are kind of desensitized to a lot of stuff. But because this stuff is so far out there and it is so in our faces, it is forcing people to see the truth. And they are waking up en masse. And that is where I believe the silver lining lies, because people are starting to see things for what they really are. They're starting to realize that the world is run by psychopaths. They're starting to realize that the system is designed to keep us trapped for our entire lives. And it is designed by the people that are doing all these crazy things. And people don't align with that. Even though we're numb, even though we're desensitized, we're not stupid. We still see the truth, and it still fires us up. It still lights a fire under our butts, and it is causing us to take action. And the action that we're taking isn't something they expected, because the action we're taking is it's causing us to disconnect from that current way of doing things. It's causing us to disconnect from this demented society that we all exist in, this new America that we're finding ourselves in. And it is causing us to rediscover the old America, which was the simpler ways of doing things. We're getting back to the basics. We're focusing on the fundamentals. We are getting back to community. And that is the main thing that I don't think they anticipated. is that they believe that all this stuff that they've been doing has divided us beyond the point of return. But because all this stuff is happening, people are realizing that it's not us versus us. We should not be divided in the way that we have been. People are realizing that it is us versus them. And they are realizing that we hold all the power, and that is why they have been trying to desensitize us. That is why they have been trying to divide us. That's why they've been trying to crush our spirit and crush our drive and crush our ambition. It is because they don't want us seeing the truth. They don't want us getting back to the simpler ways of doing things. Because when we do that, we put the entire system at risk. We are a threat to the system. When we adopt this mentality and we get back to the basics and we focus on old America and the simpler ways of doing things, we're a threat to new America. We're a threat to modern society, and that's not a bad thing. And this is not about violence. This is about us realizing that our power lies within our minds. It lies within our attention. It lies within how we're spending our money. Because the system, it relies on us. We keep the machine running. Without us, the whole thing falls apart. And the more of us that are stepping away from that, the more of us that are choosing not to participate, and we're not buying into consumerism, we're not falling for the division, we're realizing that everything's fake, we're realizing that modern stuff and all this consumerism garbage is garbage, and all this materialistic stuff is designed to keep us trapped, and the more that we consume, the more that we stay stuck in the system, and the system is designed to keep us trapped for our entire lives. The more people that see and understand that, the more this system weakens. And the more these people, these crazy people that are in charge of all this, the more they are panicking. And that is why I think they're so eager and willing to put all this stuff out there and allow it to be seen. Because if you remember 5 or so years ago, 6 years ago, there was a lot of censorship and stuff going on online. But it seems like that is scaled back. It's almost as if they want us to see all this stuff, because I think they want to degrade our spirit. They're trying to put that last nail in the coffin, and hopefully they believe that will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But by doing what they're doing, it is having the opposite effect. And the most amazing aspect to all this is that it is causing people to reconnect with one another. And that is amazing, because as you know, we are stronger together. We will never defeat this evil. We will never overcome all this crazy stuff going on around us if we remain divided. But the fact that we are coming together and we are joining and connecting with like-minded people more so than ever before is a beautiful thing. We're sitting down together, and instead of arguing with one another, we're having productive discussions. We're having actual discourse, and we're trying to come up with ways to combat all this nonsense that's going on around us. And by changing our behaviors and the way that we think about the world, we are creating a reality around ourselves that we want to exist in. Because we have grown to realize that this new America, this new way of doing things, we don't align with it. So we're creating a reality around ourselves that we do align with. We are ridding ourselves of the person that we have become, and we are rediscovering our true selves, because that person is the one that we actually align with. And by doing that, by doing what we are doing, by simply existing and allowing this to unfold, we are essentially terraforming this world. All this negative stuff is happening around us, but we are creating positive change in our immediate realities that we want to see. And that positive change, when it happens on a mass scale, that is how true change happens. That is how we change the world, and that is how we change the course of history. And we redefine the future, because right now the future is very uncertain. But I believe that as this progresses, and as this stuff continues to become blatantly obvious, and more people wake up to the fact that we've been fed a bill of lies a mile long, and they start to see the truth, all of this stuff is going to ripple out. Because like I mentioned before, there always has to be balance. So the more darkness they put into the world, the more that we are going to be the beacon of light, and we are going to shine that light out into the world around us. And that light is contagious, because people are at the point now to where they're exhausted. They are fed up, and they are done participating in this new world. And the only thing people want to do now is escape. They're looking for a way out. And as soon as they see that blip of light in this sea of darkness, they're going to focus on that, and they're not going to stop until they've reached it. And once they reach it, they're also going to become a beacon of light, and that is going to become a beacon of light for the next person. And this cycle will continue until the light prevails. And that is truly where I believe this is headed, because I refuse to believe that darkness is going to consume us. I refuse to believe that these psychopaths and all these people that are doing all these terrible things are going to win. I refuse to believe that. And the optimistic side of me, as well as the realist side of me, believes that this silver lining is the silver lining that is going to prevail. That side of me believes that we are going to be the light that overtakes this darkness. And when you think about things in this way, you start to realize that change always has to start small. One single person making a change is a single raindrop in the ocean. But when you have millions of people that are all changing at the same time, that raindrop becomes a giant wave, and that wave becomes a tsunami. And that tsunami washes over everything around us, and it wipes everything clean. And that clean slate, it provides a chance for new life to begin again. And that new life, it can be whatever we want to make it, because the power is, and always has been, in our hands.